Lonely Monk Productions. I don't know if y'all have heard Love You More by Dreamwife yet, but yo!
That's my Jawn! Hey yo, displace the guilt and...
What's good, friends and family, neighbors near and far? Welcome to an all-new episode of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast. The podcast, website, brand, movement, way of life dedicated to the embrace and championing of your passions. I'm your host, Nate Runkle, a.k.a. Jonathan Taylor Thomas, a.k.a. Nate 3.0, back at it again with yet another episode of the podcast. As always, I hope this podcast finds you all in good health and in good spirits. On today's episode, I get to chat with Frank Brown, formerly of the legendary Philly bands Flight of Mavis and Buzz Zeemer, and currently of Travel Lanes. He came on the show to discuss the new Buzz Zeemer release, Lost and Found, and so much more. And that is coming up in a minute. But first, hola, ¿cómo está, mi amigos? Hope you guys had a fine and productive time since last we spoke. Yeah, I'm feeling good. This week was the Philly Music Fest, and I hope you guys were able to catch some of it. I made it out last Wednesday and got to see our pals and former guest Ryan Gilfillian and Julia Pratt. And then just now, Sunday, I got home from the amazing set that Charlie Hall put together, covering Herbie Hancock's Headhunters in its entirety. Wow, 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 wow. It was so incredible. Big shouts out and love to Jen and Greg Seltzer for doing all they do and putting on just another stellar fest. And then Saturday was Inside Hustle, which is the networking event that the Philly Music Fest puts on in conjunction with WXPN. And it was great to get out and see some old friends and to make some new ones. So much love to Jason from the Tisberries and the Describers, Phil from the Your Next Favorite Band podcast, Scarlett from Sugar We're Going In, Radio Sarah from WMMR, Mike V and Bruce Warren from WXPN, the great Shug Daniels, Augusta from Gladdy, Gina from Velvet Rouge, and Rachel Ann Dobkin. It was such a great hang and so cool to be able to meet some of these people in person for the first time. Then on my way home, I dropped by Main Street Music in Manayunk to pick up the Lost and Found vinyl, and I got to chat with Pat, who comes up a bunch in my conversation with Frank here. It was just an awesome weekend. And speaking of awesome weekends, on the 28th of October, you can catch me at McAllister's Brewing in North Wales for a Halloween-themed trivia night, as well as a costume contest. So get dressed up and come on out and let me serve you some questions up for a fun night of spooky. All right. Follow us on the socials at Yo That's My Jawn. Sign up for the mailing list at www.yothat'smyjawn.com and all that good gravy. We got one brief ad break and then we'll jump into my interview with Frank Brown. Yo That's My Jawn is brought to you by Liquid IV. Guys, it is festival season. And you know me, I love a festival. And the secret to enjoying a festival is to stay hydrated. Liquid IV has you covered while you prep before, power through to the headliner, and recover after the weekend. Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water alone with 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. Man, I love Liquid IV. It comes in a convenient packaging, and it's tasty. When you see me at the Exponential Music Festival this fall, you know that I will have Liquid IV on me. And it comes in 12 delicious, refreshing flavors to keep your hydration routine exciting. All right, strawberry used to be my favorite, but they have this new one. It's strawberry lemonade, and it is a banger. 1 stick of Liquid IV in 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. It's non-GMO and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. Liquid IV believes that equitable access to clean and abundant water is the foundation of a healthier world. So Liquid IV partners with leading organizations for innovative solutions to help communities protect both their water and their futures. To date, Liquid IV has donated over 39 million servings in 50-plus countries around the world. Okay, and you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use the promo code YTMJ at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using the promo code YTMJ at liquidiv.com. Do it, and let's get our fests on. My guest today has been a mainstay in the Philly music scene forever, starting in the late 80s with the three-piece Flight of Mavis. From the remnants of Mavis, my guest started a new project, bringing in Philly legend Tommy Conwell on guitar and launching Buzz Zeemer, a power pop band with infectious hooks and driving guitars. Unreleased tracks from the Buzz Zeemer project make up the latest release, Lost and Found, a collection of material recorded between 1993 and 1997 that has never seen the light of day until now. Folks, it is my honor to welcome to the show Frank Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined today by the great Frank Brown. Frank, thank you for joining me on Yo, That's My Jawn.
Why, thank you. Nice to meet you, Nate.
So I'm super excited to have this conversation with you because you are a part of Philly music history to me, and I look at you with admiring eyes of everything you've created, and I am just super stoked to have this chat, man.
I appreciate it.
So just to start off, why don't you tell these folks a little bit about yourself, where you grew up?
All right. I'm Frank Brown. I grew up in Horsham, moved to Philly, of course, during the Flight of Mavis years, which is the 80s. I currently live in Havertown, but yes, I grew up in Horsham.
Okay, right on.
Right.
Oh, what was that?
Don't you live in Ambler?
I am in Ambler, yes. I was just going to say, very, very neighboringly.
Yeah.
So, like, when you were a kid, what kind of music was playing around the house? What did your folks listen to?
You know, I don't remember so much my parents playing music besides the radio, but we went in the car so many times, it was just sitting in the back seat and hearing 70s radio, which was as great as it comes. Being that I was born in 65, so you're just having all the 70s, just like the greatest stuff. And that was mostly what I listened to. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what did you gravitate to, artist-wise?
Oh, well, if I go for when I finally started choosing, but it was definitely the Beatles. But when you were listening to 70s radio, they were already broken up. So you just got to hear all the solo stuff. But then that was good too, because you heard Lennon's song, a McCartney song, and all that. But you also got all the Philly stuff, the Philly international stuff. Like you were sitting back there, me and Mrs. Jones, and I was just like, this story, what is this? What's going on here? It doesn't make sense to an 8-year-old.
Yeah. Did you take lessons like when you were a kid? Did you start with an instrument in school or something? Or
I played trumpet in 4th grade. Hey, look at that. I played trumpet all the way up to like 10th grade. But as soon as I discovered the guitar, which was probably 7th or 8th grade, 7th grade, absolutely. Everything, the trumpet went aside. I would just go, I can't find my mouthpiece, and I'd be playing a guitar in the back room.
That's awesome. What was it? I mean, obviously the guitar is the coolest instrument in the world. Like, I'm a guitar player myself. But like, what was it that drew you to it? Like, what was just the magic of rock?
As far as what, the magic of trumpet?
No, the guitar
in itself. Oh, guitar was rock. Absolutely. No, I was just, from a very young age, I just loved music. It just hit me for some reason.
Yeah.
But my gosh, the concept of just getting a guitar and you learn 3 chords and you can like play a song, it's an amazing thing. And then you just take it from there.
Can you still remember the first song you learned how to play?
Oh, what would be the first song I learned how to play? You know what? It was like Ramones, without a doubt. The idea I could play side one of Ramones Leave Home. And I knew all the chords. It was just like, this is great. I can do it. But, I was like in a band by the time I was in 7th grade. The band was called Screaming Monks, which was one of the best names out of all the names of my bands. And we would play, and we got to do this in 8th, 9th grade. We'll still say that might have been the high point of a live performance that we played at our school. And we were playing Can't Explain all day, all the night. But we were also playing Blitzkrieg Bop, which was amazing to have that go over because most people didn't know that song. But, oh my gosh, it was a big moment.
What was your entry point to the Ramones then? Because it seems a lot for a 7th grader.
Oh my gosh. Well, the guy, Dave McElroy, who was in my band, he was my next door neighbor. And we made a bet because you didn't hear punk rock. You didn't hear it on the radio. So you had to go, all right, I'll buy a record if you buy a record. So he bought Ramones Rocket to Russia. And I still say, hearing Cretin Hop for the first time, I was just like, oh my gosh. It was just like, blew my mind. And I was stuck having to buy Elvis Costello. But then I got This Year's Model, and that blew my mind. It was just, it was such great music, and none of it was being played.
Yeah, that's awesome to find out. What was your local record shop when you were a kid?
Oh, Happer Music, Joe Solano. I spent much time just. My mom would have to go to the store around the corner, and I just walk in there. I'd be looking at his whole anything there. I couldn't afford anything, but that was where I went.
I was going to say those are the things I miss, man. I miss record stores like that.
Oh, well, let alone Record Sellers, the big record store in my life, let alone Main Street Music. That's another big record store. They're still there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definite shout out to Main Street. Yeah, I love that store.
Yeah, me too.
So that first band, you were playing covers. When did you start kind of writing songs?
Pretty close to that period of time. They were bad. But yeah, certainly, you know what? I remember a Gene Simmons interview, and he said you can write a song with 3 chords. So I go, all right, I can do that. So I started writing songs back then. But it was like, I knew they were not that good until I got to later in life where I was able to. It wasn't so serious. Some of those old songs where when you're trying to write like The Police, it's not good.
I know it well. I got folders full of embarrassments like that of just.
Me too. Yeah, they're behind me right there. Yeah.
When did it start to click though? Writing songs, like can you think of the first song you wrote that like you were like, oh, okay, this is a thing?
Well, I had a song called "I'd Do Anything," which was from 12th grade, and we played that live, and it was good. But I know when it came to like my first band, Mavis, that I wrote a song called "Don't You Think," which was sort of humorous, and I just liked it because it just was a good pop song. And I said, this is the kind of songs I want to write. As opposed to taking yourself too seriously and you're just like, I'm not in the mood to do that. It's better with a band to have some fun.
Yeah, when you start Flight of Mavis and all, like your hook sensibility is just like a fine tooth comb, man. I mean, like you just nail it. And so, like, what was kind of the inspiration for like what were you listening to that was kind of inspiring that?
Well, that was all part of you got the whole REM, Husker Du. All those bands, even though we don't sound as rock as that, perhaps, well, REM we do. But the record was supposed to sound that much louder. And then all of a sudden we got rid of all the loud guitars because they sounded horrible. And the record sounds what it sounds like because of that decision. But I was just trying to fit in with all those people, the Minutemen, Oh my gosh, it was such a great period of time.
It really was. Like, I swear that, like, I say this a lot, but like the sound of jangly guitars, like, will never grow old to me. Like, it's of a time, but it's still the best music, you know?
And yeah, I can't figure this concept of time because I really think it's amazing how long this genre of music has lasted. Because there's only so many chords, but yet we're still going, trying to write that great 3-minute pop song.
It's so true. You mentioned REM, and I got to ask, any idea how the REM rumor got started about Flight of Mavis?
You know your stuff. Yeah, that came because we had a publicist at the time who got something into page 6 of the New York Post, and we were playing CBGBs, and it said, "You must go see Flight of Mavis. They sound like REM, sort of." So then NME, a British magazine, talked about REM touring under pseudonyms, and they mentioned 3 names, and one of them was Flight of Mavis. So we get to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and the pizza place next door had on their board, Flight of Mavis is REM. And we were just like, and the show's sold out. And we're just like, oh no. Because you go, they're coming to see REM. And then it's us. But it actually worked out really well. We were worried about it, but then the crowd was great with us.
That's awesome.
And the Reavers who we were opening for, they started to lose their patience a bit during their show, but sometimes it's good to be the opener.
So you obviously able to turn fans and kind of catapult off of that too, as well, right?
Well, we've always had to do that. It was just all the time, which is great. I always loved, when you had to play in front of a whole bunch of people who had no idea who you are. And then if you can get something happening, that's a great thing. It's a great accomplishment. We would do it a lot.
It's awesome. The the EP came first. Is that right? Or do I have my dates right?
Mavis is part. No, the full record came
the full
first.
record. Okay.
And it came sort of quick to others because we gave cassettes of 4 tracks we were making to the guys at Record Seller, to Neil Drucker, Pat Feeney, and they really liked it. And that shocked us because we knew of course they had good taste. So they really started going, well, what do you think about having a record? And we're just like, oh my gosh, what a concept. And then, so we're not playing that long in Philadelphia. I think, 6 months to a year, and we had a record out, and it was shocking. And then the EP came after that. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys were the first artists on Record Seller then?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. It was that was a surprise. We just wanted to hear if they liked it. And it was more like a buddy of mine told Pat that, that guy Frank actually writes good songs. And so they liked it and took it from there.
Did they ever say what it was, like, what their plan was, or was it just like, let's get that out there, like let's help you make that? Or,
well, yeah, the plan was, they were as much fans of music as we were, so they are sitting here in this record store selling all these independent records, and they know the scene that's happening, and they said, wow, we could be a part of it, and Neil put that record out.
It's awesome. Like, I've often said that, like, a lot of these kind of boom towns, all they need is like one really good indie label, like.
Sure, right. It's true. It's just that because they had Minneapolis. Oh, they got the Minneapolis scene. Athens. Oh my gosh, Athens. It's the hotbed and all that stuff. And it's true. And we had that. We were part of a scene here. We had like Nixon's Head. We had Electric Love Muffin, Napalm Sunday. There were just a lot of people.
Yeah, the that scene, it's one of my great regrets is that I'm like 5 years too young to have truly enjoyed the scene when it was great. I got to see like the end of it, like, but
right. It's all your age. It's wherever you are at that time. I can say I missed by 5 years. So.
Yeah. So like, you mentioned some of them, but, like what venues were like in the area where you guys kind of, were your regular spots?
Well, it was, the beginning as far as you had Philadelphia, you had Khyber Pass, you had Bacchanal, which was on like 13th and South. And that neighborhood was a lot different back then. And there was this place we used to play, this Jack Stretches, which was, I guess, around Spring Garden and what was it, 15th or something. But that was a crazy place that they just let us come in and play. And I got to say, it was a bunch of underage people playing there. Doesn't matter now; it's no longer around. But it was where we really learned because we were doing 3 sets some nights and all that. But you had this place Tops, which was just, it had a guy with a volume. He if you were too loud, he just had this counter that measured the volume of everything. You're too loud. We just had to turn down. We had to, appease everybody as far as that goes. But they were odd. Oh, JC Dobbs. Oh my gosh, Dobbs was it. That was great.
So you were in the Dobbs heyday. So I have to ask what I ask every guest who's been in the Dobbs heyday. Were you there for the Nirvana show?
Guess what? No, but Napalm Sunday opened for Nirvana. Yeah, they actually were. They are the band that got to do that as far as that goes. But we got to meet a whole bunch of people back there too, like a fun house for us. We just had that period of time. We just like whoever was coming through. We got to meet a whole bunch of different bands and just hung out. It was just a lot of fun.
Was it with Mavis that you played with Uncle Tupelo? Because that's another dream of mine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, absolutely. That's a good one. Well, Uncle Tupelo, we both wound up playing this college together. And I forget. Oh, where's Pat? Pat Feeney would know that. But so we met each other there, but we didn't know that much about them. But we got along great. But we were forced to play at 2 different places. Like they were playing with another band, we were playing with another band. And they were like, oh, you should be playing with us as far as that goes. And just between music and laughs, it was just like a really good time. I mean, they were so young. Jeff Tweedy and Jay Farrar. And they were such a good band. Oh my gosh. As a 3-piece too.
Yeah, that's one of my North Stars is Uncle Tupelo, Wilco, Sunvolt. Like those are.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And it was to know them just in their infancy and to see what's become of them. It's pretty amazing.
So I also have to ask Sinead O'Connor, who recently passed. You got to do a few dates with her, right, as support?
That was shocking. We first opened this date in Maryland, one of those places like the Man, that size, which was the biggest place we played at the time. So, but we were only supposed to do that date, and we got done, and their tour manager goes, hey, we're going to see if we can come up with some more dates for you guys. That was great. And we wound up doing like 7 or 8 dates, and it was something to see, you're just like, she was just at the top. That was her moment. And she was great every night, and she was like, I remember we played this like amusement park together, and she got dressed up as far as like wore a wig and all this so she could go on the rides and for nobody to know who she was as far as that goes. But that was a high mark for us. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's absolute tragedy with a loss there. Like just what a immaculate talent.
Yeah, it really was obvious. And I didn't know a lot about her at that time, but man, we watched every show and you just were like, wow. I mean, she just took it and, it was just a spark. I don't know. And they had the guitarist, Marco Peroni. Do you know him?
No.
He played in Adam and the Ants. and any number of the beginning punk rock bands. And he treated us well, but I didn't know he was such a big deal until after we were done. I was like, oh my gosh. Well, we knew Adam and the Ants. That was about it.
That's wild. So one other very random Flight of Mavis question I have to ask that I couldn't seem to find any answer to, which is how do you end up on the soundtrack to an Olsen Twins film?
Yeah, right. How does that happen? Well, that was our publicist, Michael Pagnotta. And he was with us for a short period of time around Spools, as far as that goes. But he wound up being a part of all this different stuff out there as far as soundtracks and all that. And it's just being at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
That still is a shock.
Yeah, it's like as I was doing my research when that popped up, I was like, oh, that's really out of left field. I did not expect that.
Left field, and everyone goes, how does that happen? But there is a bit of, who you know and where they go, because you know them for a certain period of time. Some people go into great things.
It's awesome that he thought of you. Very awesome. So, so that starts to wind down, and it kind of molds into Buzz Zeemer teaming up also with the great Tommy Conwell. How did bringing Tommy into the fold? How did that come about?
That's crazy too. We were playing Buzz Zeemer and just couldn't seem to get anything really going. It's amazing how we were in Flight of Mavis and everything is happening. You just go, oh, we'll just do another band and everything's going to be great. And no, as soon as you get rid of that name, you got to start all over again as far as that. And Tom got a tape through Pat Feeney at Main Street Music, and he got the demo tape, which is on this Lost and Found collection that's coming out this Friday. But he goes, I wish they asked me. And we're just like, what? That's ridiculous. And our guitarist at the time, who was playing with the Rolling Hayseeds, another great band, he couldn't make the date because he was playing with the Hayseeds. And we go, oh my gosh, let's ask Conwell to fill in. And he did, and it just changed everything.
Yeah, what just a incredible guitar player, but beyond that, what do you feel he kind of brought to the punch?
He brought a lot to the bunch. There was this one song I had called Crush, and I had like 2-3 other people play it, and nobody played it exactly the way I wanted to hear it. And Tom, when he played it, and it just like, that makes sense. But it was also, Tom just had experienced so much more than we had. And it's really the same three, Ken Buno, Dave McElroy, that I played with in Mavis, that wind up being in Buzz Zeemer. And for us, we're not the showboats. We're not that much. We try our best. But Tom, man, you can't take your eyes off him, man. And he's a great player, and he just loves it. And he would attack things better than we would. Like, I remember we had to play this Best Buy, the opening of a Best Buy, that tells you how long. And so we're going, great, we got to play a Best Buy. He doesn't care. He's just there. He's in a great mood. And it just like, it helped us. He fit in well because also the humor factor. We just, it's amazing how much music goes along with trying to get a bunch of laughs.
Yeah, totally. The did you not just a name change and bringing in Tom, but like did you approach the writing for Buzz Zeemer differently than you did earlier in Flight of Mavis? Or
yeah, it probably definitely made everything. It just, the way my writing goes, I'm a big fan of all music, and I just would learn more, and it would go this way, it would go that way, plus just everything that was changing during that period of time. But, I definitely probably changed it a bit with him in mind and what he could do. But he also can do so much. I mean, he's still, like, if you listen to the Buzz Zeemer stuff, it goes all around. It can be, country-ish. It could be rockish, it can be rock and rollish. It's just like he's able to do all that stuff, and that doesn't limit you, and you just get to just have fun.
Yeah, I don't, and I think one of the things, like, I was spending some time watching the Live from the TLA that's still up on YouTube, and like, beyond being a great band and a great songwriter, and all of that being represented on tape, like, you guys sounded amazing live, like you could reproduce it well.
Yeah, I'm really happy that exists. There's one thing to have somebody film it, but to actually play as well as we did while it was being filmed and it lives on, that's great. As opposed to, like, now, anyone can hold up their phone and it can live forever. You're just like, that was professionally done. The sound is great, and it was a good show.
Yeah. It's really funny you say about someone holding up their phone. Is I had a conversation with a guy, I'm not sure if you're familiar with, his name's Sean James, and he has like a solo thing. And he ended up on a big video game that Sony PlayStation put out. And I asked him how that happened. And it turned out like the people making the game wanted a Johnny Cash song, but they couldn't clear the rights to Johnny Cash. So they went on YouTube and found a video of him doing a Johnny Cash cover at a house party that someone just happened to record and upload. And then that's how they found him.
That is amazing. Now, when that stuff happens, that's the brilliance of this period of time. It is amazing. You just go, all right, we can't afford that, but we found, you just search for it. It lives out there. It's amazing.
Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. So you guys put that together, and you put Plaything out in '96. So all this Lost and Found stuff, does it predate, or is it throughout the entire?
It's the entire. Like, it starts we go the muddy middle between Mavis and Buzz, but then it also includes like the latter day Buzz from like 97 as far as that goes. So it's like everything that just didn't happen, but yet it's all very worthy as far as that goes. The first stuff, there's a lot of stuff with this guy, Kevin Salem, who plays guitar on like at least 5 tracks. And he was amazing. I mean, this guy he played in Freedy's band, Freedy Johnson. He played Dump Truck and all that. And he showed up, and all his parts, he never heard this stuff. We would play him a song and he would play and he would come up with something. And it was just watching a guy just hit the mark for each song. He was just like, that's an amazing thing to capture. I'm very happy to have that. But, we couldn't hold on to him as a guitarist, so we never really got to play with him that much.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, 7 hours. That's about it. You go, Kevin, 7 hours. All right, very good.
That's the Plaything comes out in '96. Delusions of Grandeur '98. What kind of decided to stop doing it with that?
Well, it's called getting old, and just things weren't happening as much as they were previously. I had married with kids. You're just like, you got to spend time with the kids. That's just it. It's very hard to do both things.
So then it's like quiet for a bunch of years, but then Travel Lanes happens. What was the desire to get back into it? Was it just the kids got old enough?
That's right. That's exactly it. All of a sudden you get to this point, well, I guess I'm not as needed as I used to be. And I still wrote songs during that period of time. And I actually went through Craigslist, and lucky me, and I didn't really look for anything. I just saw this person's ad, and it was John Beister, the drummer. And he just listed all these great people. And I was just like, wow, if you're just like half as good as these people, it's got to be something. But I knew him previously. And so we just started putting something together then.
So then that's like around 2013, somewhere around there, due to 2 albums within 2 years there, and then a little bit of a pause. Yeah. And then On comes out in 2020, end of February, and then you tour that? Oh, I guess not.
No, The World Falls Apart. The record release for that was within weeks of everything falling apart. I mean, seemed like we did this record release at 118, and it was a great vibe, but then everything ended. It was just like, all right, well, that just fits into the story.
Yeah. Was it like so was there anything you could even really like? I always find that time period like obviously was hectic and crazy and confusing for everyone. But like when you put that much time into a project and it's right when do you still continue to try to push it from your home or was it just like, oh well, I guess that's a loss? Or
it was a bit of both. It's just like you tried back then. I mean, you tried throughout that whole period of time. I couldn't get into the whole concept. Everyone was putting everything out there. Everyone's doing these shows and, I just wasn't doing that. I just didn't feel like sitting in front of, a Zoom and playing guitar or something like that. I just I really did take it. I go, yep, that's it. It's done.
It's a bummer, man.
We still play around. It's still good. We still get to have fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And also what you put out 2 songs last year through that as well, right?
2 songs, the last 2 singles. Yeah, I'm at this point right now. Like this year I just took as I'm going to enjoy my past. We wound up having a Flight of Mavis reunion in June. And that, we did that on a dare. And, we put tickets, they sold out in a day. And it was, I just wanted a chance to play with Dave and Ken. And we didn't get to do anything besides practice the day before and then play that gig. So we got to have fun doing that. And then I'm spending time on promoting Lost and Found as much as I can. Because I'm very happy with it. Like it's something, it's a lot of stuff because you get the record, but there's also like 5 extra tunes on it. So it's like really cleaning out the closet.
Yeah, I think I've heard 3 or 4 songs off of it so far, and it's absolutely incredible. And like, it doesn't sound like outtakes. Like it doesn't sound like it sounds like just full material. Like,
oh, I like that. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's. It's hard. I can dismiss stuff as easy as anybody, but there was something that was so valid about that stuff that it stuck around. And I always had it on an iPod and I would listen to it and I go, this stuff is just worthy and nobody's going to hear it because when you recorded back then, you didn't have the internet. You couldn't just go, well, I'm going to post these 4 songs. And so they just, lasted on cassettes and just files that were shared perhaps between us.
What was the kickoff of the idea of putting the project together?
Well, I was digitizing some of my cassettes and I found some stuff from early sessions. All of these sessions we did with Adam Red Glasses, who was just a great producer. Used to be in Queen Village. Like some of this stuff is recorded in a basement, but you wouldn't know it. He just did, and that's some of the best sounding stuff. And so anyway, I was digitizing, and I came on to "Come On If You Can," which is one of the first single that we actually released. And I sent it to Pat, but I really just sent it to go, listen to this. This is really good. And Pat just took it, and then he started hearing other stuff, and then he's the catalyst for having this all come together. I did not have any big vision of what I was going to do with this stuff. It was really just, wow, this stuff still exists. Maybe we could put it on Bandcamp or something like that. But Pat took it a step further and thought it was worthy enough. He wanted to be on vinyl and CDs and all that stuff. And I'm just like, I am so happy he decided to do that.
Is this the first thing that Main Street Music is putting out?
This is their very first release. Very first release. We wish them well, but they have other ideas of stuff too. I mean, Pat's a big, he just loves music, just crazy. And all the great people at Main Street Music, it's just been so helpful. Tyler the Tisper, he's been incredibly helpful. I appreciate it.
I want Tyler to write a Philly pop music book, because there is no one who knows the pop history of this town as well as that man.
Really, he has his he knows the past as much. I'm telling you, there is such a history for Philadelphia.
There really is, and like I said earlier, like you play a very important role in it. Revisiting all of this stuff, has it given you any idea or any thoughts of maybe trying to do another Buzz Zeemer project, or?
I have no idea if that could happen like you have now. Dave lives in Virginia. Ken lives in Nashville. Tom is around here, but Tom's he doesn't have to worry about doing anything. And he just has to pick up his guitar, and he's Tommy Conwell. Where for us to do stuff, it's like a big to do. And I couldn't imagine that happening, but you never know.
What about any plans for a one-off show or anything to support the?
Not currently. No, I don't know how that's gonna go in any sort of way.
Yeah. So Travel Lane still exists then? Is that still the dominant?
Yeah, we got to play some dates like Haddon Heights, New Jersey, and then played Ardmore at that Rock and Ride just like the other weekend as far as that goes. But yeah, we'll be doing something.
Very cool.
Coming up currently as far as that goes. Our fall is just we sort of got done all this summer stuff, and I'm going to do whatever I can to help with Lost and Found and take it from there.
One of the things I always like to look at patterns and stuff like that. It's probably part ADHD and maybe a little touch on the spectrum or something. Who knows? But I like to identify patterns, and I noticed that you work very well in 2-year cycles. It seems like the Mavis album and EP were 2 years. The Buzz Zeemer project's 2 years. The early Travel Lanes 2 years. What's up with 2 years?
I don't know. But that you are absolutely observant when it comes to that, because that's what it is. And I've been thinking, it's like, Travel Lanes had their burst for 2 years or something, but we've been together. Oh my gosh, what is it now? 10 years practically. That's 2 times than the other 2 bands combined. But, Flight of Mavis started, they were my high school band too. So we've been, as much as we were only together for 2-3 years as far as that, for doing that output, there was certainly a long period of time, playing Clash covers, Petty covers,
Can you remember the first show you guys played as Flight of Mavis?
Yeah, first show was Revival. How about Revival? I don't know if you remember that place. It was just it looked like a Roman. It just pillars outside. It was just this crazy place, and it was just. You walked in, you could do anything. It was a lot of fun. That was crazy.
That's wild.
Had a decent crowd there as far as that goes. A lot of friends came out, and that was the beginning of it. Yeah.
So of all the projects, what's been the most exciting piece of your music history, either in support of somebody or personal achievement or?
I don't know what's personal achievement. You just go, the amount that we got to tour in Flight of Mavis. In Flight of Mavis was, just the 3 of us as far as Ken, Dave, and Pat Feeney toured with us a lot of that time because Neil Drucker was very kind to let him go on the road, and so was his wife, Joanne. So, but when we toured and we played with the Buzzcocks, we opened for Joe Strummer, we opened Bodines, Reavers, Squeeze, Mike Brenner played with us for a period of time too in Mavis. And we just laughed. I mean, we were just in a van laughing all the time. And I thought that's the way all bands were. And I found out later, no, there's other bands. They're incredibly miserable and don't communicate well. But during that golden period, we just played well and just, laughed a lot. And we got to do that with Tom too, as far as Buzz.
Yeah. Here's another question that I love to pick your brain on, because you were there for it. Other than your own projects, who from the Philly scene back then do you think is unsung and deserves some focus on?
Well, we'll always say Rich Kaufman of Electric Love Muffin. I mean, Rich wrote great songs, he was who I looked up to when I was playing. And it was so weird because he came from Abington, but the rhythm section were the Campbell brothers, and they came from Horsham too. And people had this idea that Hatboro Horsham was like rock and roll high school, because we wound up going on to bands, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you guys are in a band. And I saw them open for Husker Du, at like this crazy basement, and I just was like so impressed. It's like, I want to do that. That's real. That was a catalyst to playing.
It's so cool. It's so cool. Those little moments where it just clicks, and you're like, "This is what I want to do," and you're still doing it, man.
Yeah. I still keep doing it. I don't know. It's a sickness, It's like you say, the ADD, sort of that. You're just like, I don't know. I got to play this guitar. Let me see if I can come up with something. You're still trying to write a good song.
Yeah. Do you have one that you can pinpoint in your head that you're like, I nailed it, like in song wise?
Gosh, nailed it. I do like Crush. I really like how that sounds. I just always like just because it is put together exactly how I would like it. But there's been a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. Do you I kind of forgot to mention this working through the projects, but do you enjoy studio work, or do you prefer live? Like, what's your
depends. It depends. Like, I gotta say, recording with Adam Red Lazarus, like when we did these first songs that appear on this Lost and Found, we had recorded at K-Gym, is what that EP, the Flight of Mavis EP. And it was such a sterile environment. It was like, there weren't anything there. It was what you brought. That's what you got to play, and, oh, you want a keyboard? Well, you're going to have to rent the keyboard from us, but you can do that. But when we recorded at Red's, it was just like toys. See, it just nothing but all these like small amps, all these boxes. And you're just like, you're trying stuff out even for the first time. And yet it was going successfully. So I love when it goes like that. I love when it can go quick as far as that goes. But when it now it takes so long, it seems, to record, because you have everything. And you have so many options. Before you used to do it, look, you're going to record this in 7 days. And whatever you do, you're going to have to live with it. Now you get to go, well, I want to change that. I want to change this. And you're just like, But I like playing live, and it's good too.
Yeah. On the Lost and Found, did you guys re-record anything or overdub anything new, or is it all the original stuff?
Everything is original mixes, except These Things has Mike Brenner playing lap steel.
Okay, all right.
He's one person who got to add something on top, and he did a great job.
I was just going to say it's a good person to add some flavor.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. He's a wealth of flavors.
We're working on putting this all together and all. What has it been like to kind of revisit? Essentially, it's like a time machine. Like, it's revisiting, these sessions.
Oh, it is. It's been good because I enjoy it. I actually like listening to it, and it's so old. You didn't just spend the last months working on it and you're sick to death of it. Now you're just like, you're still like, you haven't heard it in a long time. So you're going, well, I can admire that we were able to put that together, and, and a lot of different people, a lot of, unsung people like Kevin Karg, Andrew Chalfin, Gus Quarterbox of Ben Vaughn. And he plays on 2 songs, and it's just great to have all those Philly people all together on this thing.
Oh yeah, it's just it's so cool, and it was really unexpected. I mean, Tyler sent it to me early, the first song, and I was just like, wait, we're doing this again? Because let's do it. Let's bring it back. Like this is amazing.
I appreciate that. That's great. He was so right to send it to you. That's excellent.
He knows my sensibility well.
Yeah. Well, we got to find at least I don't know how many more people with your sensibility.
Oh, they're out there. They're out there. What has the reaction been like? Because I know you have a strong fan base in this area. Like there are people, like you said that Flight of Mavis reunion show sold out in a day, right? Like that was like.
Mm-hmm. That was something to be able to go back and deal with that and play those songs because I haven't played those things in so long as far as that goes, and to get that excitement. It's great. It's fun. You get that little timepiece to go back and go, hey, that was a lot of fun.
That's cool. I'm really. I'm so glad you guys are getting to kind of do this because, a lot of times things go away and then you just kind of forget about them and stuff like that. Just to I'm because of being the music nerd I am, I've always loved like B-sides and unreleased stuff and live cuts and alternate takes. So this is amazing, and I'm so glad that you're presented with the opportunity to be able to put a project like this together.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm very thankful for Pat to get this idea that it's a sickness for him too. I mean, it's just like it was our whole period of time, doing things. It's been a lot of fun.
That's so cool. At this time, you want to go through my little questionnaire that closes out all of these? It's called the Jauntlet.
I'll give it a try. Yeah, I looked at that. I'm like, all right, here we go.
It starts with the one-hit wonders. First one, Billy Joel or Elton John? Who do you prefer?
Easy. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not the biggest Joel guy, but I love early Elton John. Sure.
Awesome. Debbie Harry or Joan Jett?
That's tough, but I think it would be Debbie Harry. Yeah.
Okay. Aretha Franklin or Tina Turner?
Aretha Franklin is untouchable. But so is Tina. Tina Turner was amazing too. But gosh, the songs of Aretha and that voice. Eesh.
Definitely. Nirvana or Pearl Jam?
Nirvana, easy. My Pearl Jam knowledge is so non-existent. So is much of 90s music. I don't know. But Nirvana, oh my gosh, that jumped out.
That's cool. One thing I gotta jump back real quick. So one of the things that Spotify said, they do like those similar artists and all, and it had Miracle Legion listed for you guys, and I was like, oh my god, that would be like my dream build. Did you guys ever play with Miracle Legion at all, or?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they were great. We played with them at Dobbs.
Oh god.
Oh my gosh, they were, and he was so nutty. Mark Mulcahy, who I actually got to sing background vocals with on a Matt Keating record. That was a moment for me. It's like, oh my god, that's Mark Mulcahy, and we're singing on the same mic here. All right.
They're another one, much like you guys, who are just, I feel like, so underappreciated, like just beautiful songs.
I am. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I still listen to them a lot. I used to drive to our shows singing along to them, because it was a great way to warm my voice up. And I just, gosh, such good stuff.
Killer. I love it. Next one, Janis Joplin or Stevie Nicks?
Stevie Nicks. Easy. I don't know. That's enough. Enough said.
I love it. The big one, the cliche one, the Beatles or the Stones?
You know what? No, there's no reason. There's no reason to choose. No, they're both to be enjoyed. And I do. I really do. But, the Beatles were the first ones, but I love the Stones too.
Yeah. Did you hear the new Stones song that just came out today?
Yeah, I did. I don't know. There you go.
A friend of mine said it perfectly. He was like, of all the songs they've written in the past, however many years, the best ones on the album are always the ballads. So why would they go with this? And I was like, because they have to pretend to rock. Like this is
always do. Yeah, but that last record they did, original, had that Rough Justice as their first song. And that was a great song. I like that song. But this
Damn.
one just made, all right, I get it. I see where it's going.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. No disrespect to the Stones either. Still doing it.
Not at all. It's incredibly. Actually, Dave told me yesterday, Dave McElroy, who played with us, and he goes, yeah, you hear the Stones are coming out. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, why? I'm just like, why not?
Yeah. Hey, it's in their blood, man. They can't stop.
Yeah. And they were halfway through something, so they go, this is it. There's not going to be anything after this besides all the extra stuff that's out there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The last one, Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven?
Bohemian knocked you out. My gosh, I remember that on a 45 and just being, wow, this is just otherworldly. And I just was so tired of Stairway to Heaven so early.
Yeah.
But it's not awful. I'm not saying that, but yeah.
It's true. It's so true. The second half of this is the top 10 countdown. Of course, we use Jawn to be whatever we want it to be. So it doesn't have to be music. It can be anything you want. But
I was wondering about that. And I go, all right, what is he asking exactly? All right, there you go.
Yes, anything you want it to be. So number one, the first Jawn, what was the first thing you were obsessed with when you were a kid?
First thing, again, it was no doubt music. That was my first obsession. Easy. By the time, 5, I was singing songs off the radio. How Do You Do by Mouth and McNeil. There you go.
All right. All right. Can you remember the first album you bought with your own money?
Yeah. Jim Croce, You Don't Mess Around With You.
Heck yeah.
I bought it. Where the heck was that? It was at that mall, Blair Mill Village Mall. It's a lot of money, but yeah.
It's awesome. Number two, what's your current Jawn? What are you into right now?
What am I into now? It's not much different. I must say. I just really, I teach, and when you're looking for a little something to relax to, I still, enjoy music, enjoy comedy,
Yeah. What do you teach?
4th grade.
Nice.
Arby, yes.
Very cool. Very cool. Do any of your students know of your rock star past or current?
No, not really. But one time I had to pull a guitar out for something we were doing for a PSSA rally, and I had a father come up as they go, "You're the guy who plays guitar." And I'm like, "How do you know that? That's something." But the kids now, they could care less.
I'm surprised their Googles didn't lend them.
No, they really, you keep thinking that they're going to do that. They really don't. They got so many other things to do. The last thing they got to do is worry about me.
It's awesome. Number 3, what was your first concert? What was the first live show you saw?
Well, I'd like to lie and say it was the Kiss Alive 2 tour, but it was actually Tom Jones with my parents.
Nice. Where at?
Valley Forge Music Fair. But no, that's what my parents had. They had a lot of Tom Jones records, and there's a lot of good Tom Jones too.
Yeah. Tom Jones, I will say, I don't want to say I'm a big fan. I very much enjoy some Tom Jones, but I will say the worst cover of Yesterday I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, is it really? I never heard that, and I heard a lot of Tom Jones. Wow. Is that a recent one or is that old?
No, it was old. It's so overblown. Like he does it like a full on, like he's like peak Tom Jones in it. And it's just.
Oh, really? He goes for it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah. Check that out. Number 4, what was the last concert you saw?
I was asking my wife, and it's been a long time. I'll tell you. I guess it was Kurt Weill and the Feelies opened up. It was great. And that was at the Met, and that was pre-COVID. And I was just so shocked. Gerard Avenue, there were all these people out. It was just so happening. And as soon as we sat down, the Feelies came on. I couldn't have been happier. And Kurt Weill's great, too.
Incredible. That venue took me by complete surprise because I knew it had been there, and I hadn't been to a show there. I forget what the first show I went to, but like I was like, wait, we cleaned all this up? Like I was like so surprised by just how amazing it is.
That's how I was. My jaw was. I was just like, what is this? This is ridiculous. But
Yeah.
that's what thing of Philadelphia is. And it's still not back to what it was before, but I still have hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 5, what was your favorite concert? What was the best live show you ever saw?
Favorite concert is so hard because I saw so many great people. But I always remember seeing AC/DC at the Tower Theater in 78 with Bon Scott. It might have been even 77. It was 78. But then again, you could say Cheap Trick too. There was so much good stuff. But man, that had this show. Someone threw a sparkler at a curtain. It caught fire. No one left. And a roadie's climbing the amps, and they're not stopping playing. It was just like, for a 13-year-old, you were just going, this is as great as it gets.
Unbelievable. You mentioned Cheap Trick, and I got to say, I also just today listened to the Buzz Zeemer Cheap Trick cover that is floating around on the internet as well.
Oh, no. Cheap Trick was the biggest for us. We love Cheap Trick. Cheap Trick at Trenton War Memorial is the second. That was before Live at Budokan. They were amazing.
Yes, absolutely. Another one who I feel like very underrated.
Yeah, they work hard. The idea that they're still out there and they still keep doing it. Xander still sings great. They're just amazing.
Absolutely. Number 6, who have you never seen live that you wish you would have? They can be living or dead.
Otis Redding, right? Otis Redding. If I got to see what that was, as you've seen video of it as far as that goes, but oh my gosh, that would have been amazing. But there's so much stuff. I was watching this Lowell George documentary last night, and I was just like, that guy was way talented. I would have loved to see him. Number.
Yeah, the Otis Redding, you watched that set that he did on Monterey Pop during the Monterey Pop Festival, and he's like holding his own with like Hendrix and stuff like it's just so you can't take your eyes off of him.
No, he kills it. That was right. From the first time I saw that at a young age, just like, wow, this guy's crazy. Gosh, can't turn you loose. Him doing that live is one of the best.
Absolutely. Number 7, name an unappreciated Jawn, something you wish had more shine to it.
Oh, NRBQ. NRBQ was also just a big thing to us. We love that band. You got to see him in a club. You got to see him in Chestnut Cabaret. Terry Adams is just a genius, and without a doubt, one of my heroes. Hey, but then you could say the same for the Replacements. They're in the same, they had that whole 90s period of time. They had all that grunge and whatever. What we liked was the Replacements and NRBQ. That was what mattered to us.
Did you ever get to play with either?
Yeah. Well, we got to play with NRBQ many times, and Replacements, no, we didn't play, but I had Tommy Stinson slept over my house, and Slim stayed over our house, who was just the ultimate house guest. He was such a nice guy.
That's so cool. I just saw Tommy back in June or July doing a solo acoustic opening for Nicole Atkins, and man, he still has it.
Yeah, gosh, yeah. I saw some recent stuff too. His voice sounds great.
Yeah, I actually watch me plug myself. If you go to my YouTube channel, I put up his Match Made in Hell from that show, and it's stellar.
Wow, I gotta check that out.
I'll send you the link.
Cool.
Number 8, what's your favorite album?
That's another one. There's no reason to pick a favorite album. You can't do it. You can't. There's no way. It all depends on whatever the day, the hour. Because there's just so many you can just put on and you go, oh my gosh, that thing, it's just utterly perfect. But there's many of them.
That's fair.
There you go.
I understand. I've said it a few times. It's a shit question. I know.
Yeah. I don't mean to say that, but I just do. Everyone's so obsessed with lists. I'm just like, who cares? Who cares? It's just, there's no reason. Enjoy it all.
100%. I totally agree. Even though it's my question, number 9, name an artist whose output you'll consume anything they release.
Who do I get anything they release? I'm just even looking around. Who do I get anything? Oh my gosh. Pretty much, but a lot of them have been around too long. So, like you're saying about the Stones. Well, sure, I'm interested in everything that comes out, But am I weighted with bated breath? Not so much as far as that goes. And, Beach Boys, they have so much great stuff, but you're not going, oh my gosh, I can't wait for a new Brian Wilson record or anything like that. So I do have collections, but I don't think I'm waiting for anything, actually. I don't know.
That's fair.
Always gets to a certain point, it's sort of like you were talking my 2 years thing. There's a lot of groups that have their 4 records that are just great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true. Like, I feel like there's a certain period of time where you're just locked in and like, like there aren't distractions. Like that's your thing. And that's, and then once expectation and stuff starts creeping in and.
That's exactly it. That's it. But boy, is it great when all of a sudden you go, oh my gosh, I got a new record from my favorite artist and I get to put it on. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's your music geekdom.
Yeah, it's so true. There's also the fear that first time you hear something from your favorite artist that doesn't hit, and you're just like, oh, okay, maybe it's me.
That's right. You're just going, when you have your skeletons and stuff, I always say, they had the Kiss Dynasty record was like finding out there's no Santa Claus. It was just like, this just is awful, and I know it's awful. No recovery.
I have to tell you, and I'm pretty sure I've told this on this podcast before, but Gene Simmons hit on my wife in front of me at a comic book convention.
Oh, way. Oh, my gosh. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah. So now every time, and I was like a huge Kiss fan when I was a little kid, and also like it was just like one of those moments where like I don't know how to feel right now.
That's right. Oh my gosh, that's a great moment.
Yeah, he looked her up and down from head to toe, and he was like, "I like this," and I was like, "What the fuck, man?" Like,
that's amazing. Oh my gosh, he is a class act, isn't he?
Yeah, the best.
Yes, the best. Oh my god.
Number 10, the last one of the top 10 countdown. What is your favorite Jawn of all time?
My family. Take that. It's the truth. It's the greatest. That's the best.
Absolutely.
The best thing was finding out when you had kids, you go, oh, I don't have to think about myself so much. Oh, it's the best.
How many kids?
2 kids, 2 boys.
Very cool. Do they play?
No. And I could care. I never was a big person pushing them into anything because there was so much like, I like that I had the choice, to do whatever I wanted, but I was never like, hey, play guitar with your father. There was maybe a certain period of time they picked it up, but neither one really, got into it so much. They're gamers. Okay,
that's cool. Hey, look, that's the new rock star, man. Like
that's what it is. That's what I mean. That's the modern thing. What we had all this stuff as far as music. We did our games. We had Pong. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, like I look at Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. And Mattel football.
Oh yes, definitely. But yeah, I look at like some of these streamers and like the amount of people that watch their stuff and the amount of money they're making. I'm just like, you're bigger than any band I like right now.
Exactly. There you go. That's it. Mm-hmm.
It's so true. This is actually going to be in the future, so I'm going to speak about Friday as if it's the past. So Lost and Found came out on September 8th. Tell these good folks where they can track a copy down.
Oh, absolutely. Go to Main Street Music and pick up your copy there. That is the best way to get a hold of this, but there's ways to get it through Bandcamp. There's ways to get it in any number of places out there. It's going to be available all over. And, as the singles are already streaming, actually, I'm not even sure because I haven't checked. I can't look back to see if the whole record is streaming at this point. I'm not sure if we're holding off on that, but I would go get the vinyl. That's what I'd do. I'd go right to Main Street and go, I demand my vinyl.
Absolutely. And 2 different variants on the vinyl, including the beautiful red one, which I myself will be ordering because it looks fucking nice, man.
Yes, it is. It is. I got the red one myself. I am so happy with it. Every time I pull it out, I am happy with it. I'm happy with the cover, which is something in itself. There's many covers that I look at and I go, oh no, but that one it makes sense.
It's cool. Was any of the Mavis stuff or any of the earlier Buzz Zeemer stuff on vinyl?
Yeah, the first Flight of Mavis was vinyl. Yeah, that was vinyl in its infancy. It's not the return vinyl, is it? I think we still have a box of it, so I don't think we have to re-release it or anything.
That's cool. So what was it like? Kind of, you said you were listening to these songs on iPods. How did it feel the first time you dropped the needle on it? Like, that had to have sounded great.
That was great. That is a really cool moment as far as that goes. Like anything, because we're vinyl heads, and I'd never imagined those songs being on vinyl. I was just like, this is great, let alone to have it as this whole collection.
It's super cool, and I'm so glad you're getting to put this out, and I'm so glad that you took the time to come talk to me today about the project. Frank, thank you so much, not just for doing this show and all that, but for creating incredible art and for being such an enormous part of this music scene in this area and creating music that I love. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Nate, and thank you for helping to get the word out.
My many thanks again to Frank for joining me on the show today. The Buzz Zeemer release, Lost and Found, is available now on all streaming services and is available on vinyl through their Bandcamp at buzzzeemer.bandcamp.com and in-store at Main Street Music in Manayunk. Links to all of those are in the show notes. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast wherever you get your podcast from. And guys, it is never too late to get yourself a super awesome Jawn Scout Merit Badge for citizenship of the world just by rating and reviewing us. Don't forget to visit www.yothat'smyjawn.com for articles, merchandise, and links to all of the previous episodes of this podcast. And while you're there, be sure to sign up for our mailing list to get all of the updates delivered straight into your inbox. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/YoThat'sMyJawn for updates and live streams. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter X at Yo That's My Jawn and search Yo That's My Jawn on YouTube to find the Yo That's My Jawn YouTube channel. Like and subscribe the heck out of that ish. We want to hear from you. Reach out, and touch some Jawn. All right, guys, that's it for this episode. Join me next week for my interview with Sean Hennessy. Blue skies. Until next time, everybody.
Hey yo, displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure. Your taste in music doesn't have to be.
Yo, That's My Jawn is a Lonely Monk production written and produced by yours truly, Nate Runkle. Theme song by Phil Tyler Music featuring Nate 3.0. Special thanks to Fox Run Brands, DX Ferris, Andrew Scott, Natalie Runkle, and the incredibly brilliant and wickedly stunning Katie Daubney. If you or anyone you know has any ideas they would like to share or any guests they would like to hear on the podcast, please feel free to reach out to us at yothat'smyjawn@gmail.com. Or you can leave an audio message for us and possibly hear yourself on a future episode by visiting anchor.fm/ytmj/message. Until next time, be sure to displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure and shout to the world, yo, that's my Jawn.